question is it there, though? Like, I keep coming back to Bergevin. He's always been the guy that I come back to. Like, we saw it, okay, for 10 games. We saw it. But is that who they are? Or was it the team they were a year ago? Is it the team they are now? Is Carey Price going to get back to 3 years ago? Is Toffoli actually going to score 40? You know, is Anderson going to keep doing it? Like, who are they?
I think they're in between.
So what does that mean? You know, like what is a new coach going to do?
Team.
They should be a playoff team in this division.
For sure.
Yeah, they should be. They should be.
I'll tell you, you can't be a competitive team if your center ice position has 7 goals 20 games into the year. They're playing 2 really young players in Suzuki, who has been terrific, and even though he's in a little bit of a ditch, he scored the other night. But man, there's lots to see there. Kotkaniemi's just, I don't even really know what he is yet. He's just getting going. Deneau doesn't have a goal, and Jake Evans is a 7th round pick. Like that center ice is not going to carry you in this division.
Mm-hmm. Ray, have you ever seen a general manager have a lock on the general manager of the year? 10 games. Like, it was honestly the biggest lock in the game that Berge was going to win the GM of the year, and now the coach gets fired, and obviously it's not quite a lock anymore.
That went fast, didn't it? And it wasn't it wasn't just that they were 7-1-2. It's how they were doing it. They
crushing teams.
Oh, right. And so maybe, I don't know, I guess a lot of times you look back and go, maybe we should have looked at things a little different. Like, they pounded Vancouver 5 times, I think. Yeah, and that was when Vancouver couldn't complete a 3-foot pass. It was breakaway central. Like, did we really get a normal look at that? Or a true look at that? Probably not. But man, they sure look good. It all looked awesome. And then, and you're right, Berge had put together this team. He target shopped, which I thought he did a really good job of. And then all of a sudden, it's just not there anymore. Like, it's just not there. And I look at it and I'm like, man, these guys can't get out of their own way right now. Brady Tkachuk ran roughshod over them last night.
Man, he looked good. Yeah, he's
starting to look like Matthew. There's your captain, by the way. I don't know what they're waiting for, but holy smokes, man.
Carey Price is a guy we talk about a lot on this show, clearly. His resume speaks for itself. He is who he is.
Hold on. Yep. I got to jump in. What is his resume?
Well, he won a Hart as a goalie.
He's the best goalie on the planet.
Okay, how do we say that, though? That's the one thing that I get. Like, the last 3 years, he's averaging about a .900 save percentage. Yes, he had some great seasons. But
actually, I'm wrong, because Vasilevsky and Hellebuck are right there, too. There's some great goals.
But
if you have him in the top 3, that's,
yeah, for sure.
That's high praise, right?
That's totally high praise.
But quoting save percentage, are you doing high danger saves or?
I know it could be broken. Listen, we can come up with. I know there's a stat kind of for everything, and he's been amazing for the Montreal Canadiens. But for me, I don't know how we compare what he's done. Is it overshadowed because of what he did with Team Canada? I think Odog could have been in nets for them, and they probably would have had the same record. What has he done with the Canadiens in the playoffs? What is it, 8 series I think he's won in a decade? And I go, and 3 of them are in 1 year. I just think that he is, it's not fair that it's not on him that I'm saying it. I'm saying we don't give enough other goalies credit. That is my thing. It's like there's so many other great goalies in this league that have some great runs. And we just, always in Canada, we just give it to Carey that he's just the best goalie in the league. And he has, he's sexy. He's got everything that you look at him is great. But again, last night he made some brilliant saves, but they still give up, 3, 4?
Well, and the contract comes up with us a lot. That's 10.5 for, I think, 5 years after this, and it'll be 34 in the summer. That has to be concerning. It can't not be concerning for Bergevin, for whoever's going to be the GM in the future. If he is on a slide, which I think is reasonable considering his age, doesn't mean he can't still bring a lot to the table or won't, but you can't expect – I'm not holding my breath that he returns to Hart Trophy caliber Carey Price. And at 10.5, you kind of need that. And that puts you in a tough spot, if you're building this team.
you also have to go get a backup that has to play as many games as they do because of, again, Carey's needs a little more rest time. The last couple of years he's been around just over 900 as a goalie. But that's the bottom tier of the league. That's right there with I don't know why we just every year just give it to Carey as he's the best. And you know what? Unfortunately, everything's comparable, and that's what I do and what we all do in this business, and we compare. And, unfortunately, it goes with this price tag, as you guys just brought it up. The team is based and built a certain way, and it's kind of handcuffed because you need $14 million on your goaltending. So there's limited money somewhere else. So you have to be the game changer. Matthews and Marner, the money's there. They have to be the game changer. In Pittsburgh, you know where the money is. They have to be the game changer, and it should come with the territory. And it doesn't come enough with the territory in Montreal. And that's just it's a little bit of a rant. And it's not really on Carey. It's just I think there's some other great goalies in the league that we don't give enough love to.
Yep. No,
that's a good point.
Probably based on the markets they're in. Like Vasilevsky's an example of that.
I'll say Montreal has a better crack at it because I think they look like a team that could be consistent at least.
When's the panic set in for them, Ray? When's the panic after the coach is fired, and then the play still does not elevate? When does Berge go?
What do you think? 4 or 5 games, right?
I would think so.
You got to give
a
little bit of time, right?
Yeah.
But look, guys. So just looking at those two teams, though, I like what Montreal did in the offseason. I thought they really added some. It's like some target shopping sort of pieces. I was like, that's pretty good. Montreal's going to be a better team. Their center ice position gets overwhelmed every night. It's a hard position to play, and every night most of the other teams have really good centermen, and these two, like Kotkaniemi he's slow to develop right now. I still think he's going to be pretty good, but man, they get nothing out of that position. Their goalie is, I don't know, is he dead last in the league or pretty close to it? Like the game last night, it's 3-3. I don't know who was more surprised on the fourth Winnipeg goal, Carey Price or Nate Thompson.
I think it was Thompson.
Well, it was a pass across the ice, and it
was
went
a muffin.
Yeah.
It was right on the ice.
Awful.
It's like the Brandstrom goal. I don't know, on the weekend, he takes a 45-foot wrister. It's right on the ice, and it goes in.
Yeah, through the body. Yeah.
So
they're turning on him in Montreal, which it doesn't necessarily mean anything. It doesn't have to matter.
No.
It's not his first rodeo. He's been there for a long time. He got booed during a preseason game a decade ago. But it's starting to happen where the Daily Scribes are like, maybe Jake Allen should play 2 in a row. Or 3 in a row.
He's playing tomorrow. He's playing tomorrow. It was announced, but he should.
Right, but
I think you have to.
Noodles, I saw your thing where you said about Price moving around too much. The goals last night, 2 of them, he looked like he was on roller skates.
Yeah,
like the Kyle Connor goal, the second one. I know it's a beautiful play, and Montreal screwed up their coverage, but he was so far out of position. That's not how Carey Price plays when he's good. The Dubois goal, he ended up facing backwards.
Yeah,
Again, nice pass. I know he's probably not going to stop it, but it's like it's weird to see somebody that you think should be better that just isn't. And he's under 890. He's got to be right now, save percentage. It's really crazy to watch. They had 30 shots last night and 5 more goals. I think that's 5 times he's given up 5, right, this year?
I broke it down last night. I used to actually, I thought was pretty a good analogy for this show. He's like a guy that drives 300 off the tee, but gets on the green and it's a 4-putt. Because he's making hard saves, but he's making really bad goals, like bad 3-foot putts,
right?
Like that.
Ones
that
you expect them to get are going in.
You have, and as a goalie, I've said this all along. You have to make the saves that you should, and a couple that you shouldn't. But what's happening is he's making some great saves and then allowing stinking goals, like stinkers, and it's killing them. And then the other thing I tagged on it is I went back on their last 5 games. They're giving up over 20 chances a night. That's a team that's supposed to be built on structure. They're not good defensively right now. They're being overwhelmed. So the goalie and the team are out of sync. The goalie starts. You make $10.5 million. You got to do it. He's
clearly got to be better. I mean, we can all accept that, but I also think it can continue to come back to star players here. You know, like the cap issues are a reality. You know, and what you're getting out of your depth is absolutely needed. But there's a few things that stood out to me last night. Is Price not playing well enough? Johnny Gaudreau is a ghost right now. Like he's
in a weird spot, Hayes.
Really weird spot. And Pettersson, I thought would be a top 10 player in the league. Pettersson hasn't been that either. You know, so there's so many different things you could look at that lead to where you're at. But ultimately, if your best players that kind of have to drag you, like what's going on in Toronto, Edmonton, Winnipeg, McDavid, Scheifele, Matthews are rock stars every single night. You can bank on it. And then Draisaitl's doing it, Marner's doing it, Wheeler's doing it. Like other guys are falling into place. But if your best players are not your best players, man, you're starting from so far behind the 8 ball. And that's what's clear with all three of those teams.
It's a great point.
Last year, I was just going to say, last year, Jay Miller was Vancouver's MVP. He has had I don't care what his points are. I don't even know. I think he's near a point a game. He has not had a very good start. He's been below average. And, like, he was the backbone, the heart of the team last year. And to your point, Brian, about your best guys, and Pettersson, they've all got good-looking numbers, you know, but it's not been that. Not even close.
I mean, listen, you guys know I do the Habs games on TSN, and it's been an unbelievable time with this team, and it's tremendous theater. Well, listen, all the Canadian teams always give you theater, but the Habs season is unbelievable, and I think the best way I could describe them right now, in my mind, as far like I think they're going to make the playoffs, but they are not the team that we saw in the first 2 weeks. And they're better than this. They're somewhere in between that. And I think it'll be good enough for fourth in the division at the end of the year. I think I'd be a little more trouble if I was Calgary right now because the group's been together a while now. And I don't know. Like, I think, like a lot of people, I expected them to be pretty good this year. And there are some signs there that go beyond a slump in my mind.
Yeah. And Pierre, I don't know what you think, and Jamie's not going to agree with me. Carey Price, we can all agree that he hasn't played up to snuff.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disagree.
But my second point of it is he is the key to the whole operation. If he could get back, and I'm not talking about MVP Vezina Carey Price, but just real good Carey Price. We saw that game in Toronto, the first game I believe it was, where big save Dave. It's amazing what the team looks like and how positive the video is when the goaltender's playing really well. It was like, wow, look how engaged Calgary is defensively. Maybe no, they're not. Maybe the goaltender is just good and making saves, and it's amazing the positivity of the clips that come out of it. But when the goaltender stinks, it's like the body language goes down. Everybody looks terrible on the video. So if Carey Price could just rein it in and be real good, Carey Price, I think that's the A1 most important thing in Montreal.
No question. And with all due respect to Big Save Dave in Calgary, he's not Carey Price.
No.
He has not been the goalie that has been the goalie for this country for the past dozen years. You had Sidney Crosby at center, Carey Price in goal. Those are your Canadian stalwarts, right? You think Olympics and everything. So to see him struggle to this degree right now is difficult to watch. And it's interesting when I talk to people from other organizations over the last 48 hours, it is amazing the respect that he has from other players and coaches and executives. They want him to snap out of this. He is beloved. No one likes watching this, right? Like even Leaf fans, he's the one guy on the Habs that Leaf fans don't hate. You see that on Twitter. He's Carey Price. You know, he won Canada Gold in Sochi. So it's difficult to watch because it's not just a slump right now. I know I do a lot of their games, and he's had ups and downs. Noodles will tell you the last few years, but he snaps out of it. He works with goalie coach Stefan Wade. He put a .936 in the bubble last summer. He was the best goalie in the playoffs, not named Andrei Vasilevsky. But this is not just a couple weeks here. He has struggled from the start of the year. And so they do have to figure this out. I think they will, but I can't guarantee that. I don't know enough about goaltending. That's Noodle's department. And if they don't figure it out, it doesn't really matter what happens with the rest of the team.
Well, and they're going to go to Jake Allen too. Like that's a softer landing than a traditional backup. Like we are seeing.
Oh, for sure.
Like that's when you look at it, take the Flames Leaf segment here the last couple games where Markstrom's out. It wasn't a big drop off. Riddick was an all-star 18 months ago. And he played like it. That's what you need you need good goaltending on nights where maybe your team isn't going or you're not getting good looks or whatever. I thought the second game between the Leafs and Calgary was more both teams played pretty systematically strong. I thought the Leafs played really well defensively.
I thought they played well.
Too.
Yeah, I thought they played well.
So I look at it. Carey Price game has to be 100 times better. We know that. Montreal's game has to be 100 times better. But you're right. If you don't get goaltending, goaltending masks so much. Man. It masks so much. But if you don't have it, that's where the teams are man, we're in trouble. I looked at Edmonton at the start of the season. I'm yeah, you got McDavid and Draisaitl. You've got some more depth. I like Yamamoto. RNH is there. You got. But who was going to stop the puck? Koskinen had a really good statistical year last year, but he played half the games. I was concerned about Mike Smith. All of a sudden, Mike Smith looks like Mike Smith of 28 years old, not 38. 39.